to consider.
I don't believe
it's
it's
one of
been
those things
mentioned.
where normally I stay away from this, like, was the mental state, but I just feel like FaZe is the one exception, just because we've seen such radically varying performance out of them relative to other teams. It's just searching for some form or explanation. And by the way, Zebosai is teasing us with that Sombra.
Well, he did run it before. So I don't know if it's been mentioned, but FaZe is playing on a European tournament. So for once, 2EZ and Shadowburn have low pings. That's probably why 2EZ is electing to go Tracer and McCree more than the Roadhog that he has been playing on any servers recently.
I mean, I can't believe we didn't bring that up. That's a massive point for two impact players, or potentially the most impactful on this team. Having that ping advantage is pretty freaking massive.
You sort of forget that with FaZe, where 1 week they're EU, 1 week they're NA. They go back and forth, but they do have different advantages based on where they're playing.
Well, yeah, let's not beat around the bush about it. It sucks to play with high ping, even though Overwatch is a game and the netcode is good for that stuff. You know, talk about Farah Cups and all the rest. It still sucks to play, right? So if you can play on your home server, you're happy. But we're already underway. It's night market. In fact, Fiction is making no bones about the fact that he wants to hit a backline here. But Zebosai already is going to be sticking on this Sombra as well. We'll have to see what he can do with it.
He takes out Forsaken immediately, so it's a good start here thus far. Going back and forth, looking for the Winston. Back to Fiction, able to take out Skipjack though, so 5v5 right now between both. Still an opportunity for FaZe to bring this back, as Shadowburn in the fight is actually breaking down incredibly evenly right now. Shadowburn though at 59% ult charge, 200 HP, can absolutely bring this back. Sombra or no Sombra, going in for Soon, making his presence known.
Yeah, and you can see that still Misfits are throwing themselves at this fight, so it's going back and forth. They're happy to reinforce and not just have to sit and wait for the rest of their team to group up. They should have the point here, in all honesty. Raucus going down to his opposite number and Cooler putting him on ice. They're going to be sat back up on that point, and now an attempt here at least from Fact Fiction, but it's a little bit underwhelming. Zoms and Shadowburn are left, but again, a Genji on his own can only do so much, and it will be Misfits with a convincing first point take.
And here's the thing that's actually really troubling right now. We were talking about Forsaken, how good his Zenyatta is. Well, his Zenyatta has been isolated by Zebosai twice now. He's basically using Sombra in the same way you would use a Tracer, going out of your way to get on Zen when he's not expecting it, but he's having more success with it just by coming out of stealth and getting on when he's not expecting it. And here comes the EMP right now, gonna disable all sorts of abilities, and that opens up Misfits to just roll right into FaZe.
Yeah, really nicely played by Zebosai. There are a lot of ultimates and, you know, other abilities available to FaZe to use in that situation, but Zebo cut them to the quick rather rapidly. No Dragon Blade, no Pulse Bomb, forget about it. Forget about it. And now Zebo, on maps like King of the Hill, those health packs are very important as fights are often rolling. So the more of those you can hack, the more of a pain in the rear end it's going to be there for, especially the DPS players on the side of FaZe, who do need that quick fix of health, taking damage and being focused down.
All right, Zebosai right now going to use his stealth once more, coming up and over to the left. Soundbearer is coming in though, so this is going to be a rough fight for Misfits. They need to back out immediately, but Soundbearer of their own, they're going to re-engage. Here comes Shadowburn. Dragon Blade unleashed, looking for the pick on the Sombra. Not able to get just yet, goes into the Graviton, picks up 2, and it's Zoms setting up Shadowburn for what he needs, gives him the 3K effectively. And FaZe finally going to get on the board here. They get 1 or 2 more kills.
Yeah, very unlucky. Well, unlucky was unfortunate for Zebosai. He was actually like 1 tick from hacking Shadowburn just before he pulled out the Dragon Blade there as well. He had like that last pink, he just had to hit that ethereal key, but he wasn't able to prevent that from coming through. And then, well, the rest is history. The Wombo was available. There's plenty of ultimates available to FaZe to use after the fact here. So 67%, still quite respectable, I think it's safe to say, to start with for Misfits now, and they can come back in with a bit of a regroup. Again, Tracer and Sombra, so very slippery DPSs with Genji combined there as well, and it is going to have FaZe constantly turning their head, snapping at 180 degrees to try and catch these guys.
Shadowburn not suffering Sombra right there at all, taking her down immediately. Forsaken keeping things spaced out, so Forsaken has had trouble dealing with the flanking, but for now, holding strong here, able to keep on to his Transcendence, didn't have to burn it into panic. And FaZe now making up for lost time. They're going to be at 45% in here in just a moment, and they have the ults to withstand the next fight, so for Misfits and for FaZe, this next fight probably could decide who's going to win the map, especially if they both burn all their ultimates in. But Zebosai going down early already kneecaps Misfits before the fight begins.
Yeah, really nice from Fact Fiction there, just to pick him out before he could wreak havoc. The longer you let a Sombra around in a fight, the nastier it's going to be in terms of your utility being stifled. Hit and falls to Shadowburn now as well, and Cooler's going to get shocked to death there by Fact Fiction. And the thing is, if you're playing Tracer and Sombra, they're flankers that do damage over time. They don't burst necessarily unless you have like a pulse bomb. So if you're playing them, you need to complete kills. You need to take responsibility for them. It's not enough to spray a clip and get half health damage and then piss off, because they're going to get healed up by Lucio or an Ana or something similar. You need to finish those kills. But here's the EMP as Evo starts this next fight.
EMP comes in, trying to set Misfits on a good note here, and it's doing just that. Really slow response coming out, and here comes Shadowburn, late to fight. Dragonblade gonna try and turn it back around, has 2. Is this response going to be enough? 1 HP! Ends up living! But when you have Winston in your face, I don't think it matters, so there won't be any grand comeback. Skipjack just throwing Shadowburn against the wall, but FaZe has done quite a bit, and the EMP sometimes is a blessing in disguise here, Uber, because you take a look at this, they were able to save 3 ultimates because, frankly, they couldn't use them.
Right, it's like dying with ultimates sometimes early in a fight. It's actually not always a bad thing. Nevic's going down so early. Now the Transcendence to back this one up. This is going to hurt. Yep, Pulse Bomb hits true and Caller falls. This should actually be FaZe taking this one away to start things off here. The gimmick again comes in. Sombra being used once more by Misfits again to, well, not enough impact, it's safe to say. I won't say none. It definitely had its moments here, but now Nevix has to desperately throw himself at this point, keeping himself off the ground, but eventually he's got to succumb. Shadowburn is the one to find him. Again, stall, it's not going to be enough here. Flankers can get on the point, that's fine, but eventually it's going to run dry.
And is running dry as we speak. Every kill going the way of FaZe. There is no miracle on the way. MP comes out towards the end, but just not going to be enough. And I gotta say, so obviously this is one of the first days that we've seen of Sombra in competition. She just came out yesterday. And I actually do think that's going to be a hidden downside of EMP in the sense where, if you think about how normal fights go down, when you get a good engagement, a lot of the time, whether it be lack of discipline or just the team being overly optimistic, they're going to throw some ultimates into a losing fight. EMP is so effective at stopping a team from using their abilities. Obviously, they can't use their ultimates, but it also means that when you wipe a team out with EMP, they're probably going to be coming back really strong because what won you the fight to begin with is probably going to lose you the next fight, so it's an interesting conundrum.
So what that means as well is that following up an EMP, you should not use more ultimates on the side of your team as well, because you don't want to allow an ultimate advantage to be built purely because you're using ultimates and giving that over to the team. So just run the EMP, maybe another ult, that's fine, but you don't want to commit too much because you allow the team to have more ults than you by default. That's never a good thing ever in any case. So you got to think about it a little bit more. There's another layer there, but the fight starts and 2Easy's already peeling those back. Skipjack's going to fall down. He gets hit in as well. And after this fight will be done, it will be an easy first point take for FaZe, who've been looking just a cut above so far on this map.
2Easy just eating at the Misfits buffet there. No one was on him the entire time. He came in off the right flank and just went boop, 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 got 3. And that was pretty much it. So FaZe definitely starting off on a very strong note here. And you take a look at what they have. This is a difference from last patch, where they don't have ultimates up just yet. You have basically 2 clean fights without ults. Maybe 2Easy gets a pulse bomb towards the end. Both teams throwing out poke. Factor Fiction, though, getting in and dirty, taking down 2 immediately, and FaZe gonna hold this one as well.
Yeah, it's eventually going to become a measure of how we judge a team on how well they fight with no ultimates, like no one having any ultimates. Because the first 2 fights, that's exactly what they're made of, and it's going to be most important on maps like this, where keeping ultimates rolling is so important. If you can't win fights without ultimates, you're not going to have the ultimates to win the fights with those. You're always going to be at some sort of disadvantage in a lot of cases. By the time you have enough ults, it's like 77-0 or something ridiculous. So Misfits, something's got to give now. They've got to make a move. They've got to make the difference now. Skipjack hoping to try and get on towards some tanks, but Shadowburn perched up happily in the middle. Dragonblade now to come out here. He's found Nevik straight away.
Dragonblade coming in, already slices down 2. Late Sunbear coming in from FaZe. Maybe it was needed, maybe not. I mean, it was a kind of close fight towards the end. Sort of a judgment call. I think for now it works out as Shadowburn just rolling in, cleaning up everyone towards the end. But we got a note here. This is where he's picked up maybe 20% ult charge. Last patch feels like it would have been closer to like 35.
65% already. This is not ideal, and yeah, there's some ultimates to work with here for Misfits, but again, they need to show us a little bit more than just pressing Q and hoping for the best here, because so far FaZe have been very slippery and hard to catch. 2Easy on this Tracer has been very, very difficult to deal with, and constantly Shadowburn has been winning that Genji battle, as we kind of expect from him now. Graviton in, Nevik's trying to go for the Dragonblade, but there's the Transcendence in this fight.
Transcendence comes in. 2Easy, though, still being relentless towards the back, takes down Zebosai. And 2Easy's been the X factor here, where no one has really been challenging his Tracer this entire time. He's just been free to roll around the side right now. We're watching him here, no one on him. Here comes the big bang, moving right in. 2Easy picking up another 2. And Misfits clearly needs to deal with this Tracer, although I think the time is just too late now. They're going to lose the round. And you looked at what they were running there. They weren't running a McCree. They weren't running anything that could conceivably really pressure 2easy there. And that was the case where 2easy decided, you know what, I'm going to have a good game. And really, you look at all the other members of FaZe, it's easy to overpraise Shadowburn and all the rest, but you leave 2easy that wide open, he's going to punish you hard.
Thing is, if you're Misfits coming in as a team that you think is better, if you're Misfits you generally think you're objectively better, you have to wonder at what point do they start trying to directly counter what FaZe are doing. You have to kind of admit that the enemy team is beating you in some aspect of the game, and you have to turn around and go, okay, at what point do we admit that they're better right now with what they're doing and counter it? I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're seeing Misfits play their own game, their own style, their own comps, and it's not working. We're going to see a Sombra again for Zebo. Again, we have to see more from this pick here. The EMPs, I mean, we've opened up a can of worms with the discussion about ult advantage and EMPs, and I hope we continue it, but now Zebo just needs to get kills.
Indeed, and Zebo right now going around the back. Definitely wants to get on the Zen if he can. Looking to hack Shadowburn, does hack him, and that's going to stop Shadowburn from dashing right now, but the follow-up isn't immediately there. However, take a look at the rest of Misfits soon. Goes to the backline, does end up picking up Shadowburn. And now his Tracer going to get to be unleashed a little bit. Going against Forsaken. Forsaken, though, not the easiest Zen kill. Giving him a little bit of a fight, but it's not enough. Tracer still advantaged in that particular matchup.
The tricky part about Sombra is, as well as often you'll get out of jail free card, like your equivalent of the Tracer recall is going to your translocator that's near a health pack on the other side of the map. This means that after you recall, unlike Tracer, you can't immediately get back in the fight. You need to walk over to where the fight was happening, away from that safe zone. You put the translocator down, and those few seconds can mean the whole fight.
Zebosai just laying the damage in the Winston, but it's a little bit too aggressive. He's immediately punished by 2easy in Factor Fiction. Shadowburn coming in from the flank, and just like that, FaZe able to get in there. And a lot of it is because, honestly, Sombra went a little bit too deep.
Well, I mean, it's going to happen. Zebo probably may not even really understand the limits of Sombra right now and how she interacts with this team comp specifically, right? Your limits change depending on what you're going up against in terms of the enemy tanks and what utility and what CC they have, but there is at least going to be the EMP available now. I want to see how that's used, and I want to see exactly what that actually shuts down, if it's going to be meaningful or not, or just another flashy ultimate. He's going to go over the top, though. Zebosai gets in behind. EMP goes down. He's going to hack Shadowburn there as well, even though he was technically already hacked from the EMP, so gives away a bit of DPS, but hey, I'm nitpicking. It is going to be a decent fight. Start at least here for Misfits, and they should be able to take control.
It's a very good fight for Misfits, although I'm not necessarily sold on the hacking after EMP either. Her Sombra's main gun, it doesn't do that much damage in mid-range, but it's still probably better than going for a hack to add an extra 2 seconds onto a hack. I mean, I get it. Shadowburn's really strong, but if you can't kill him with 6 seconds of him not being able to dash or deflect, I don't know what to tell you. Either way, both teams right now setting up here once more. Shadowburn going to have the Dragon Blade up and at the ready. He's going in over the top. We've seen this move before, but he's getting stymied a bit here by the sound there and not exactly finding what he's looking for.
Yeah, it's worked out really well in this case for Misfits. It's mitigated a heck of a lot of damage, enough for them to, I guess, weather the storm and reflect it back twofold. And that's big. This is big for Misfits now, because this is where they need to mount their comeback. It's no more rounds after this. They can't afford to lose this one either. So Primal Rage is in effect here. They're going to have that one available to them. Maybe if Skipjack can get in the back and knock some people off, I mean, that would win the fight already. Skipjack could win the game with one knockoff if he does it properly.
He's looking for that knockoff right now, looking to just grab one throw on the edge. Has he found Forsaken? Forsaken in a rough position. Will Zenyatta fly? There he goes. Gets the knockoff, but the rest of this fight still going away in Shadowburn. Shadowburn got to the back line while Skipjack was playing Throw the Omnic. And Shadowburn gonna be carrying this as FaZe coming right back onto this point.
The thing is, the entirety of Misfits had already sort of jumped on just Forsaken there, and it took Skipjack way too long to knock him off the edge. It was very, very hard. You have a lot of air control in Overwatch, so it's actually quite hard to be knocked off completely. You have some degree of control whilst your feet are off the ground, but still, I'm not convinced about the way that their position was there for Misfits in that fight. They went for a position that maybe didn't help them out, but 2easy's down already. That's a perfect way to get rid of the Transcendent Zenyatta, by the way. You can CC him, you can knock him around, and Forsaken can't heal anyone when he's 6 feet under.
Absolutely not, and Misfits turning this fight right around, 87%, and now it's going to be FaZe here on the hot seat. The best chance here for FaZe is that they have to stall it with 2easy. They're not going to be able to come in as 6. This is going to be a very, very rush engagement, and now, you want to talk about someone who can really ruin a rush engagement. Zebosai just waiting here to drop the EMP, goes to the back line. No one's going to be able to break anything down here. As Misfits rolling right in.
Oh, Dom's going to take himself out there as well. He was in the middle of the fight. He needed to be active, but unfortunately not going to be given the opportunity to now. And Nevix can run rampant with a Dragon Blade that's not going to be shielded. And in that case, the EMP was super effective there. The Zaya couldn't shield anyone or herself. Perfect stuff. Overtime done. And it will be one back for Misfits. They had to claw their way through it, but at least they're keeping this map going. They'd hate to start this series at a 1-0 deficit.
Score 2-1.
Alrighty, so round 3 complete. Misfits trying not to drop this very first map. FaZe gonna have 2 more cracks at this to stop Misfits here and now. Going to be on maps, rounds that they have won on before, so it's a good thing for them to be on. Looks like Zebosai still might be staying with the Sombra. Just looking to get to backline deal Forsaken and hope that works out. And I will say, from what we've seen of EMP here, Uber, what do you think of it? Because it seems like it's doing pretty well and having a pretty high team fight win when it does go off.
Honestly, like, I really have to do my homework a little bit more, and I'm not afraid to admit this on exactly what EMP does shut down and mitigate. But if it's a Zaya that can't shield, if it's a Zenyatta that has no shield available to him after that gets ripped from him, that's all good for me. She's just good if you can get EMP on multiple targets. It's no bad way to slice it here. So if Zebosai keeps getting in the back line and getting work done, fine, but he needs to do damage as well. That's important. Fact Fiction finds Zebo to start things off here as well, and even that slippery Sombra couldn't avoid the big bustling Monkey Man, and such a convincing fight here as well. I think no one on the side of FaZe died there as well as Misfits. They need to adjust to this level of aggression and pace that FaZe are bringing.
Absolutely, and that's the case where Shadowburn was just able to get to the backline, got one, and went from there. And let's not underrate, too, Forsaken has pretty good synergy with Shadowburn in terms of marking targets and making his life a whole lot easier. Shadowburn, though, very deep in, has the Harmony Orb, gonna have to back out at a moment. And take a look here at Skipjack being very deep, and he's leading the way. They're able to dive in on Forsaken. They take him out early. 5v5, that's gonna really hurt Shadowburn's contribution. And Zebosai right now doing more than expected on the Sombra, able to take down too easy.
I'm pretty sure
on top of the health pack.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just saw Shadowburn reflect a hack. I don't know if that is a thing, but Zebosai tried to hack him and he just reflected and it didn't go through. So maybe his blade is so keen that he can cut through cyberspace. Either way, interesting. Fight still won by Misfits though, and Skipjack has himself a nice perch to drop down now.
Skipjack, I feel like that's just a full-on Miro spot. Like, I feel it was used before then, but you watch Miro play, he's really known for just clever positioning Winston. Getting in there, but hang on, hold the phone. Here comes Dragon Blade on both ends. Shadowburn, though, going to win that sword duel, ends up picking up 3. What a cleave coming in. Really good positioning from Shadowburn. That's going to put FaZe right back on this, right back on the points. So, very even game here thus far.
And there's a good situation where an EMP doesn't necessarily guarantee you the fight win there as well. I mean, Zebosai had that on 3 or 4 people, but the damage was already either done or in the process of being done. So the timing wasn't quite there, but he's adamant. He's going to stick on his Sombra and he's going to make it work. He'll put the translocator down now up on this ledge. So remember, it's going to take him a while to rejoin the fight if he does hit that sort of get out of jail free card, the panic button. But Nevix going in with the Dragon Blade. Finds Forsaken up on the high ground there as well. He's looking for supports. That's his diet. He's pretty much a herbivore right now and he gets them both. Good start for him, and that should be enough to win this fight out on its own.
Anytime you lose both healers right away, that's going to be a Nevix is not to be denied, feasting at FaZe's expense, ends up with 5 kills before it's all said and done. I thought Shadowburn played for the other team.
Yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward for him there as well, and all he had to do was maybe he got 5 kills, right? But all he really has to do is put the finishing touches on damage, which isn't being healed because he's already killed both healers. So it's stupid how much you can do by getting rid of both supports in a fight. And Genji players are conditioned to do that no matter the map or the situation. But Nevix has to be careful. Gets a little bit of a shocking opening there from Fact Fiction, who gets him onto him with a Tesla cannon. That Graviton catches 2. That's going to be enough there. Too Easy gets both of them in the mix, and this will slow Misfits down. But they're going to go for a fight anyway.
They're going for the fight. Too Easy looking for the magic here on Tracer. Ends up getting hacked. I believe that was the EMP going down, and I gotta say, EMP probably one of the least pleasant things a Tracer could get hit with, because you take away her blink, you take away her recall. She's a 150 HP hero that actually has a relatively forgiving hitbox to hit. So
I'm pretty sure it should kill a Tracer in 1 hit because she has that chrono dysplasia, and that technology is what keeps her alive or in the current time. So that should get hacked and that should really kill her. So fix that, Blizzard.
You know what? I'm on board with this. Just have the EMP hit Tracer and then have her just warp out of the fight for 5 minutes. But next fight is underway and soon. Making good use of his Tracer. Pulse Block in later in the fight. Has 2 kills here thus far. Brawling it out here. But the flow of battle definitely Misfits' favor. And this is a must-win fight for them right now here, Uber. 95%. Misfits coming in. They win the fight they need to keep this map alive.
Yeah, and that's important. 65% now for them. It was in overtime, so again, not much of that margin of error. And I'm getting slayed for saying that Nevix was a herbivore before. Come on, supports aren't meaty, all right? They're leafy. They've got foliage, all right? That's the way it is. Deal with it.
Oh my goodness. So, Shadowburn, Dragon Blade up and at the ready. Nevix with the Dragon Blade as well. This is going to be full-on anime fight on the way, but Nevix takes down 2 immediately, finding more than Shadowburn. 3 kills. Do we have 4? Puts the blade away, but so much damage has been done here. And that's a massive fight here for Misfits and might have just won them the round.
Yeah, it's going to be the easiest auction that Misfits ever went to now, and a perfect timing to win out that kind of fight. Now, they can take this to a 5th round. It should be a Tracer blink on towards the point. I think there's plenty of time for that. Too easy went there, and he got Zebasai as well at the same time. Pulse Bomb put down. No one really there to see that or be damaged by it. And Skipjack does try and keep his team shielded behind the bubble, and this should be enough soon with a massive 3 kills there, and that's going to make it a 5th round. I mean, Slasher said this series was going to be sick, and he's not wrong. It is delivering already.
And hey, Slasher's there, so Slasher, give us your quick thoughts as we're waiting here for round number 5. What are you seeing right now, and what's working and why?
Nevix's swords are just doing more than Shadowburn's swords, and Soon's Tracer is getting the better of Tweed's Tracer right now. I actually don't think Zebasai's pick is really doing a whole lot, but maybe just the triple flank is putting a lot of pressure on Forsaken and killing him off the not.
Well, the key thing here is that Shadowburn, when Forsaken is down, doesn't have a whole lot that's directly healing him. I mean, the other hero is Lucio, so he's pretty dependent on Zen being in the fight. Shadowburn's aggressiveness goes way, way down where Forsaken is dead just because, I mean, Lucio is great and all, but it's not the same level of healing that you get from a Harmony Orb.
Well, we're going to be in now, round 5. This is, I mean, what a boon this would be for FaZe to start with this first map. I have to see if they can do it. I guess it's going to be Skipjack pressing forward, and Zebasai and Nevix, again, that duo always diving. Not tanky, but definitely have the damage to boot going through. Soon's picked up by Too Easy, though, there as well. So this time the Tracer on the side of FaZe getting the better. But it's not going to be enough. It's going to be Zombs and Fact Fiction together. Shadowburn was caught out of the fight for long enough there to have minimal impact. There's still a chance to contest here before this point is taken, and Shadowburn's definitely looking for the opportunity, but he's going to be surrounded by 5 players here.
Shadowburn versus the world right now, immediately having to back off. This gave Misfits an opportunity to solidify here in the point. Factor Fiction not able to withstand against this pressure. And overall, Misfits with numerical advantage, making the most of it. And you're right, they have been zoning Shadowburn out of this fight. However, Too Easy is back in, Shadowburn is back in. Anytime these 2 flankers come in, there is potential for a turn up, but not when Nevix gets the back, takes down Forsaken once more. Nevix having one heck of a game right now on Shadowburn.
Yeah.
Kenji.
I know, they're synonymous, let's be honest.
I know, maybe, they really is, like, they're linked in my brain.
Yeah, and so there should be. That's good association. God. That's how we learn and remember things as humans, EP. So don't feel bad about that at all. It's pretty. But to be fair, Nevix may be earning himself the title of being synonymous with Genji as well with that performance.
I agree.
I mean, inside the main complex, you have so much ability to climb walls and dash across and climb more walls. Super annoying to deal with Genji's there, and he already had a very good position. Shurikens were connecting. I mean, it's a bit of John Madden analysis for you, but that's all you can ask for from your Genji without a Dragon Blade.
And speaking of Nevix and Dragon Blades, he's holding one right now. A lot of ultimates here to back him up. Here comes the blade. Has the nano boost on it as well. Slicing and dicing. Has 2. And just cleaning house here on this rotunda. In with Soon. And this is working so well right now for Misfits. I mean, Nevix going back. Going to force Shadowburn right out. Forsaken going to fall. And now for FaZe. Next fight feels like a win or else fight. They have a good amount of ultimates that are going to be up. But if Shadowburn can't find value on his blade, that could be it here for FaZe, because they're going to be in such a hole that it's going to take them far too long to bring it back.
And remember, an EMP from Zebo to prevent FaZe from using ults is not necessarily the end of the world. It comes out now a little bit later after they've been used, and that might work. But Forsaken's going to come forward with the Transcendence here. It was a sound barrier that's now expired on the side of Misfits, and they're going to have to make it work without it. Too Easy, in fact, Fiction are getting involved, but Forsaken gets picked up by Soon. Even amongst the chaos, he finds the support in the back line. But Too Easy's doing just the same thing. He's emulating his opposite number. He finds Cooler, but Zebo, quick double. Raucous, in fact, Fiction gets smashed down, and Too Easy now just has to keep this one ticking as long as he can. It won't be enough, and now, look at this. Drips and drabs here for FaZe. Shadowburn reconsiders going in on his own there as well. He's just trying to keep a presence, but he can't go in now full hog.
And I can't say enough about Hedan. Hedan was able to shoot Shadowburn twice and just melee him in the face in the last fight. Probably won the fight for Misfits. It was absolutely top tier on a play coming out. Now, Nevix is down early in this fight. It's a 65. This is probably FaZe's best opportunity to change this that they've had all round long. Too Easy rolling on the outskirts. So they are going to take this round. Or sorry, they're going to take back control. But to take this round now, they're going to have to win every last fight. Misfits on a very good track here. They're taking Lijiang. They just need to bank their ultimates a little bit more and get one more good fight.
Situations where EMP is good, by the way, when you only have to win one fight, right? It doesn't matter if the enemy team's going to have ultimates left over that they couldn't use to carry into the next one, because there isn't one. So Zebo needs to get that EMP on as many people as he can and just win the fight outright. There it is, it comes out. Fact Fiction was already in Primal Rage form though, so he doesn't lose that ultimate. But Skipjack finds Forsaken to start with here. Perfect opening, Skipjack, Primal Rage, jumping through with a Tesla cannon. Fact Fiction just gives up the Ghost and heads over the edge, hoping maybe to respawn quick enough to contest, but I don't even know if it's going to be the case. That depends on Too Easy, who just gets swatted aside with ease over time in, and there's not going to be anyone coming here from FaZe, and Misfits have done it. They sweep it back in their favor. They take the first map in a 5-round extravaganza.
That is unfortunate for FaZe to be up 2-0 and then get reverse swept.
Yeah, you'd be mad.
Historically, FaZe has not done well in maps that come after a situation like this. They just haven't.
Yes, you are mad. That's my analysis of that situation. You are well pissed about that. But I mean, I'm glad we got to see it go all 5 rounds here. We've seen that already a couple times tonight. It's bloody brilliant.
Oh my goodness. So, good Lucio play of the game coming out there. Boops ahoy. And now the question is, will FaZe be able to bring this back? And by the way, in terms of a team that is very consistent and is able to fight their way out of things, and we've seen it not just here tonight, but you go back and look at what they did in the Overwatch Open, how they've played in general the last few months. Misfits, very, very good about keeping a cool head about things and fighting back even when the situation appears somewhat grim.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great example of a team you can sort of reverse sweep and will. I mean, this is, you know, not land conditions. It's an online cup. You'd hope that they're not sort of stressing and pulling out too much hair here, but it shows a lot. I mean, a team that can pull off something like that is grit, determination. It's like you said, it's also ability not just to get annoyed about the little things. If you see something you don't like, don't talk about it until the game's over, and you can sort it out after that if it's even that important to you. By then, it might not even be. That's what you have to do. You have to get on with the job.
I think I want to give huge props to Cooler. You just saw the play of the game during that 3rd round. To begin that round, he actually knocked off Zombs at the beginning of the fight, and FaZe is in the lead to take the point off the bat and probably take that round 3-0. Cooler takes off Zombs, then he knocks off Forsaken and Factor Fiction later. He helps win that round, and then really, I didn't think Zebasai and Sombra did a whole lot the first 3 or 4 rounds, but the final round, he actually had a huge hack on the Mega Health Pack on their side, and Shadowburn couldn't get the health. He actually dies, and then they're able to take the first point. So some huge plays, both from Zebasai and Cooler, aside from the DPS, and hit on with more clutch sleeps on both Fact and Fiction and Shadowburn throughout that series to bring it back.
Well, there was one fight in particular for Hedan where he basically took out Shadowburn. I'm not going to say one-on-one, but it was awfully close, where he was able to land the shots needed and finish him off with the melee. And that's a fight where a lot of the time Shadowburn versus most Anas would just throw the Ana into the garbage and then throw the rest of the team into the garbage in short order. So the fact that Ana was the roadblock there, that Hedan had that play, it was huge. And Hedan, again, he's a player that's been having very, very crucial plays in key situations for a while now. Of course, he is the man with the sleep dart that arguably won E-League. So yeah, Hedan, pretty good player, pretty good at neutralizing threats when it counts.
It's so funny how easy it is to talk about DPS players and making big plays with ultimates and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, in games like that, you're expected to do that. You are the catalyst of the team wipe. You need to do the damage. But the things that really turn games on their head or win games that are lost, like the last 2 play of the games we saw, Nevix's Reflect, of course, in the game against Tornado Rocks, and then what we saw there from Cooler, it's those little things. It's not just coming with big wombo waltz that just turn games around. The sleep dart here, a boop here, a reflect there. We can talk as much as we want about how much we highlight DPS players, but the real game changers are the ones that are harder to find when it comes to those nuanced plays from supports and utility heroes.
All right.
Now, Misfits ran the same comp that they did on King of the Hill the last time they played Hollywood earlier today. I thought they might have gone triple tank against the dive comp from FaZe, but they decided to go dive comp versus dive comp. It wouldn't surprise me if Misfits go Sombra once again, just because of how successful that it was on Hollywood earlier.
Alrighty, so we are getting game once more. Hollywood was the choice of FaZe. They're going to pin their hopes and dreams on this, although Hollywood also the site of some incredible pain for FaZe recently. Very recently. where they were up against C9. C9, of course, had the ridiculous hold on last and ended up turning that into a full-on tournament victory. So for FaZe, it's a case where this map has not been super, super kind to them in recent memory, but they're stubborn guys and also prideful. Are just like, you know what? We run that 10 times, we probably win it 9 times, we just messed up.
But that's also fine as well. Though sometimes you don't need to ponder your navel over every little mistake you make, and sometimes it isn't actually broken. Maybe it can come down to mechanical errors that make a very good strategy look like utter crap. So this is okay.
That's totally a thing too. Well, you have variants there where it's, for example, you're compared to more traditional sport like, say, American football and all the rest, where, listen, you can have the best laid plan, but if your quarterback slips, doesn't throw the football well, throws a duck and it gets intercepted, not necessarily the strategy that's wrong or that the play was wrong or anything else. Just, sometimes stuff messes up. And in Overwatch, you can have the same thing where things are on a hair's edge, where sometimes you miss a headshot just barely, the person lives at 15 HP, and then they come back and wipe your team. It just happens.
Zoms is going Sombra. If I was FaZe, I would be concerned running a mirror comp to what Misfits are going to do. Misfits is running that dive comp as they were running earlier. This is going to be a huge battle to start off this round.
I sure hope so. I mean, I really do want to see those come to a head. So Sombra's, well, we're seeing a lot more than we bargained for, and I think that's okay for us so far. It will be, of course, the Tracer and the Sombra setup for FaZe here as well. So both teams come in with relatively similar compositions. In fact, they're bloody identical. So we'll see how this plays out and who can actually hit the backline first. But so far, it's just been probing from Misfits, just trying to see if there is an in at this stage. With Soon up on high, he's going to go straight for the cafe and trying to get the dive on here. A 3-man dive comp, Forsaken never stood a chance.
No, not at all. And FaZe just rolling the team as they come in. And the thing is, though, for FaZe, they're going to have to keep doing this. I mean, the offense obviously can come back in over and over again. Too easy on defensive Tracer, and they're starting to lose people as it goes on. They're down Zoms. They've lost 2 people here thus far. The offense is going to get a chance to reinforce this with 6 before FaZe is fully reset. And also, I mean, as good as Tracer is, she's not quite as beefy at points, so I kind of feel like there's going to be a big window of opportunity for Misfits here in just a moment if they play this right.
I mean, they're out this FaZe are all back in their entirety, so they did manage to sprint back towards the point. A couple of the heroes had sort of movement mechanics, so not the end of the world here. Zom's trying to be isolated here. It might be a Sombra 1v1 at this stage, and they're both trying to get around each other, but elsewhere, Nevix is picked up by Too Easy already. So Zebo has to not only kill the opposition Zombra, which he's done, but now hit the backline, and he's done well. Soon and Skipjack chiming in, Forsaken and Shadowburn going down, which to me is the beating heart of this team. But Too Easy still has something to say about this. Fact Fiction stays alive a long time despite having that on him, and nice pulse bomb left there for Cooler. He walks over, it's like a landmine, it's triggered, and so is he, so he's back to spawn.
Too Easy right now, trying to be the X Factor, trying to just buy time for respawns to come in. Skipjack, though, taking on Rock is going to make that rough as Heat in! Comes in once more, the punch of doom. Shadowburn last game, Too Easy this game. Almost grabbing Forsaken in the back. Hiden having some crazy impact right now on his Ana, and now take a look at the ultimates that are charged up during that sequence of events. The defense pretty close to getting their ultimates as well, but Misfits with a lot more tools here to keep things moving forward. Zoms gets caught out over the top, not the 65. Everything going in favor of Misfits, and they're not stopping your Uber. FaZe is just letting player after player die, and this feels very much like a mistake coming out here by FaZe.
Yeah, I mean, they've already committed a couple of heroes to a token defense over on the high ground, which they've lost. The thing is, you can see FaZe are desperate to keep that. They want to have the high ground, they want to have a strong presence and advanced positioning in this stage, but they've been denied that because they were just singled out. Quite simple. Look at this. Zebasai, Soon, Skipjack, all up on the high ground. Fact Fiction walking into a bit of a trap if he's not careful, but he still found Zebasai, so that in itself is admirable. Now Primal Rage, he's got his boots on the ground, and he finds Cooler along with the help of Shadowburn, so I have to say, Fact Fiction played that one really nicely, given that he was outnumbered to start with. He stayed alive long enough in the fight, and Shadowburn backed him up all the way.
So, EMP and Dragon Blade both in the can right now, as well as Primal Rage. 3 ultimates were used for the teamfight win, and you take a look at the ult economy from Misfits, they're still in a really good shape. I like how they're playing this here, but they definitely need to cash in a little bit and win the next fight. If they win the next fight, and they still have a few left over, they could just ride this all the way a second, but here they go, they're on the way in. Nevix to the back line. Nano Boost Dragon Blade. Picks up 2. Soundbearer coming in here from the defense, but it's kind of late to fight. This could be risky. A counter Soundbearer is out, and the later Soundbearer going to have a much greater effect.
Yeah, no doubt about it here as well. The second Soundbearer is always the strongest if you have the players alive to make use of it, and that payload now should be scooped up and well and truly on the road. And this will, honestly, if they want to regroup, this means that FaZe can't even exit Goldfish Studios until the payload's in front of the county jail. And that's not a great place to fight from, as well as it's very easy to see the defenders coming. We'll see if high ground is even going to be a factor here now, as Fact Fiction's already gone ahead of his team to try and flank. He will be spotted out pretty early on, but he's looking for Hirdan now, and he might have him. The bubble comes down, Hirdan heals himself up, he's got 2 to deal with, but Fact Fiction finds him eventually. So decent start to the fight there, but Zombs is taken down by Cooler. Luckily, Transcendence is there for Forsaken, just to smooth over any potential errors.
You know, it was there to smooth it over, but I don't know if it was the right thing. Shadowburn had already taken out Nevix, and they had 2 members of Misfits on the run. Maybe they lose someone in defense there, but they're closer to the payload than the offense is now. I actually think that usage of Transcendence was a little bit of a mistake coming up by Forsaken, and given that we're in a meta where you don't get the ults up all the time, that really could decide the next fight, because they could use Transcendence in the next fight. They're not going to have it. Shadowburn is hacked, and the offense right now is moving in. Shadowburn just running for his life.
Yeah, Skipjack falling to start things off here as well, and that's Shadowburn again finding Nevix, who's been... I mean, you need Shadowburn really to function in the way that he does, and FaZe play around him. I don't really care if Shadowburn says they don't. They do. Good fight for them, though, and a good opening here is Skipjack is dying a little bit earlier than he otherwise would like. It's not bad positioning from him. It's just good focus, actually, from FaZe to remove him from the picture. And, you know, you need to respect Winston. Obviously, on his own, he can't always do that much. But the longer you leave him in a fight, the more damage he does, because, of course, he's based very much off, you know, consistent and prolonged damage effects. So... they're dealing with him well. I mean, it was Zebasai, sorry, actually, on the Winston. I should correct myself there. But now, we'll see what he can do with that one as he switched off the Sombra.
Shadowburn right now holding on to that Dragon Blade in on the back line, being a distraction, looking for his opportunity. The offense not really working too much, but Shadowburn lets himself get picked off. This is a big opportunity for Misfits now to win a fight that should have been FaZe's. FaZe had a huge opportunity, but because of that early pickoff, Misfits is going to be rolling in. It's going to be very hard for FaZe to bring this back before second now, and that's the power of a team if they can catch someone off guard.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, you're mad if you're too easy, because you do the same thing. But look at the reinforcements coming in now. Nevix is actually going to be cut down here. This is a brilliant hold coming out from FaZe on this point. This shouldn't happen to Misfits. This really shouldn't be an issue for them now. And Hidden's alive, soon reinforces. And Raucus, that's a sound barrier for him and him alone, just to stay alive. They realize now that this could be into overtime if Misfits aren't careful. Dragonblade comes out. Hidden, oh, Shadowburn gets himself to what a perfect save here. He might need a little bit more, though, and the rest of his team will arrive and oblige. 10 seconds left. They'll hold here.
10 seconds left remaining. Misfits now going to see if they can even get on the payload. Nevix going to try and be that guy. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Uses it to get the second dash. Puts him on the point. The Hope is alive, but the Hope is quickly dying. Too easy. Cleaning up in the back. 3 members are down, and no one going to be able to touch that payload again. It's going to be FaZe with the hold here on second in Hollywood.
And it was Zebo who ended up switching off the Sombra there as well, going over towards the Winston, giving a bit of an extra tank and allowing there to be a Reinhardt for Skipjack instead of trying to play a solo tank role in that regard. I have to say, like, we talked about Shadowburn getting picked off in that previous fight that we thought could have gone very, very quickly south for the side of FaZe, but Too Easy did stick a pulse bomb straight on towards Soon's McCree. So you trade 1 for 1 there, and that's acceptable. It's not doom and gloom, even if you do get picked off as Genji. So, I mean, they played that quite well, and you made a very good point. The payload was quite close to the spawn of the defenders, so that was their power play period, where they had obviously a lot of ability to stick around, and it had to be a big mistake from them to let it get any further. Can't really fault them on that one. I mean, it's a sick hold to Misfits, no less, to do that to them on Hollywood.
Absolutely. And by the way, for people who just saw that camera-wise, apparently I went full vac. I don't even know. I didn't have my hands on my keyboard, and my camera just went through like 3 walls. So I don't know, guys. Please don't report.
You're supposed to uninstall your cheats before you cast, by the way.
Look, man, I know, but I've been really busy recently. I just forgot. Just, you know, cut me a break, dude.
Tribes players.
Wow, I know, right?
Oh, he's sick. He's sad that he can't ski around the map anymore, and you know, all that kind of stuff.
I wish, man. Give Tracer skiing. That's the real buff that she needs. But speaking of buffs, or just things that anyone needs in their life, we need some more Torbjorn in our life.
She's gonna try again.
Not again.
It didn't really work last time. You can't. He's gonna make it work this time, Mitch. gonna happen.
You can't stop this train.
You know when Slash is being optimistic about that, he's being clearly sarcastic. This is not happening. And the fact is, even last time, like, okay, so my point before was that you want a molten core to make it worthwhile as Torbjorn. You need to build that up. That's even harder to build up now, so it's even harder to justify this pick. That turret is going to go down. Look, it's already been spotted. It's almost as if they knew it was going to be there, and no one's going to be there to repair it. So Zebo's going to have to quickly build another one.
EMP is a hard counter on molten core. Disables the turret.
Yes.
Just for good measure.
I mean, but yeah, it's super strong. I mean, right now, Zebo gets a kill on Fact Fiction, God help me. I mean, that's okay. All right, he gets 2 kills. You put the turret up. I'm sorry. It's bad analysis just to say that Torbjorn's going to be great because we haven't seen it yet. So I'm still skeptical.
Yeah, but for me, I want to play the devil's advocate optimist and be like, you know what? Sometimes Pirate Torbjorn has to be played just for the fans. But I will say this. If you've practiced on Torbjorn, I still think his gun is more deadly people get credit for. That's why he was able to get 2 kills there. It wasn't the turret. It was just Torb going in. But this is going to be a little bit rough. They have Shadowburn coming in here on the Pharah. Winston diving right in on Zebosai. Zebosai having to run for his life, just barely arm himself in time. But he acts as the bait. Effectively gets 2 people killed just because of how hard they dove on him.
Yeah, a beautiful hook there as well coming out from Soon. He actually caught on towards Raucus there, so the Mercy was out of the picture before the fight even really started. And now this is dangerous for FaZe. You're actually letting Misfits start to get rolling. That rolling, you know, snowball, the ultimate impact isn't as prevalent in the current patch now with it being slower, but still it's not good. You don't want to give him any sort of advantage. The Pharah, we need to see this work well, but Pharah doesn't really like Torbjorn turrets if she's not ready for them, and that one's at an off angle.
Indeed, and Shadowburn has to keep an eye on it, but if he spends time going on the turret, he's likely to die to other things, or the Torbjorn himself, who clearly is Shadowburn's top priority right now. Rocket's very clearly heading to everyone's favorite character that would absolutely fit in Ironforge, but FaZe right now taking their time, and now it's going to be Misfits engaging on them. The Nano Boost is out, Nevix. He's leading the way as a very powerful Winston. Not even angry just yet. Now he's angry. Going to be going in, looking for a little bit of juggle on Roadhog. Not going to get it, and just creating a lot of disruption here for Misfits as time slowly bleeding off the clock. Zebosai going to get the molten core, but you know what? Zom says that EMP here, Uber.
Yeah, that's right. He could shut that down pretty quickly, and I don't know if Zebosai really accounted for that earlier on. Maybe he should hold the molten core until that Sombra's been dealt with. You need to think on a couple different levels now if you're knowing that EMP could be coming your way. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what Zoms can do. He's already going in deep, so he probably knows there's a turret there. The EMP comes out, but no molten core was used quite yet. Zebo can use that later on if he needs to, and it'll be a great time to do it. Transcendence comes in over the fight, but no, the turret's done. Zebosai used molten core just after his turret went down, so he doesn't have it available. He just has the extra fire rate and damage, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but he could have had so much more.
The timing was definitely off on that, and yet it's worked. Yeah, we do have the Resurrection coming late in the fight. Raucus throwing all his cards into this deck. Earth Shatter down from Factor Fiction, looking to be FaZe's savior once more, diving into the room, not getting anything here, getting booped and bopped around by Torb and Lucio, and just like that, Misfits right now on the verge of a 0.1 hold. This would be absolutely huge. They would take the series outright. The Torbjorn dream might be coming true. Is it a dream, by the way? Dude, is it classified as a dream or is it something else? Let's be honest.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the kind of dream that I'd prefer to have. But hey, I don't like Torbjorn in this, but I do like the fans. If the fans want Torbjorn, then give them what they want. As long as he has a big impact. Zebo's at 40% of ultimate. He's been dishing out armor to his team, which has been very important. You can see most of them have some of that to work with. Ultimate-wise, though, FaZe have nothing. Nothing.
They aren't working with a whole lot here, and they're going to be going up against this whole hog and the Torb in the back. Turret is down, but look at this. They're literally backed into a corner. Juggling. Is this Marvel versus Capcom right now? Aerial Rave coming in from Soon, looking for more. Too easy, though. Able to get the double kill. Air combos or no, and suddenly FaZe at the last moment starting to bring this forward. Shadowburn some very vital kills here on the Reaper. Too easy at the hook. Gonna finish it off. And FaZe not out of this just yet.
And it's still going to come from Zebo. He switches over from Torbjorn, but you shouldn't lose this. You shouldn't lose that fight. Honestly, as Misfits, you have an old advantage, which is more important now. You have a turret, which does help as well, especially if it attracts attention for some period of time. But people got picked off. I don't want to say who. Too easy got a very, very important hook to start the fight off there as well. But I'd be kicking the crap out of myself right now. Nice sleep dart there. That was extreme range sleep dart coming out on towards Zoms. But I'd be kicking myself really hard if I was Misfits. They don't want to lose from here.
Absolutely not, and unfortunately they didn't get to second outright, so 2 minutes left. Things have suddenly turned much, much better here for FaZe. If there was a win percentage chance, it probably just went from all of 15% all the way up to at least a 50-50. So here we go, though. We do have Nevix leaping right in on that nano-boosted science. It's going to be countered here by the Sound Bearer, and what a charge from Factor Fiction. Incredibly crucial play coming out. 2 plays from FaZe. And now they're going to move forward. This is going to be a full and uncontested team wipe, and they still have a minute 4 to go here, Uber.
Yeah, and Nevix gets sort of staggered out there as well on his spawn. So we might see a similar situation now where, you know, that payload will be quite close to the defending spawn, but Misfits don't have any ultimates to work with now, and there's 3 on the side of FaZe. They've thrown this. I'm sorry, like, to lose that point there, it's not that FaZe aren't good and didn't do well, because they had to be better to win that fight without the ultimates, but it's a massive throw for Misfits to let it get to this point now. Minute 18, they've got to hold here.
It's going to be hard for them to hold. You take a look at the ultimates are up here for FaZe. Shadowburn looking come off the top rope, spinning, helicoptering, taking down 2, aided by Factor Fiction, and FaZe just smothering Misfits here at the end. The dream is dead. FaZe going to beat down Torbjorn, get through what could have been a first point hold, and we're going to be going to a map 3.
Yeah, map 3, and I'm not disappointed about seeing another map. I'm just, the Torbjorn pick just doesn't seem to carry enough value for me. Slasher, please tell me I'm not ridiculous.
Actually think you're wrong. I really do. Okay, considering that you know FaZe is going to run Divecom, and they like to put in the Sombra, they ran triple tank. That is the counter to the Divecom. And additionally, Torb was actually pretty good against Genji, and Torb was actually pretty good against Tracer. So I actually think it was the right decision to make. I'm not exactly sure. I don't even know if Misfits is exactly sure of how good Torb is and how much the buff is going to help him. But I don't dislike the pick. I really don't. I think it was a smart move. Considering what FaZe was going to do, it forced FaZe to go Pharah Mercy, and they won 2 or 3 fights. If anything, it was too easy going Roadhog and getting a pick to start the fight, which won them that whole last team fight, not necessarily them going Torb.
I'll give you that. It's pretty clear to see. I mean, even a layman can see that the Torbjorn did do work. I have to wonder. You have to wonder what if sometimes, really. Whether from Zebo, would he be back to his Zarya? Maybe if he played Zarya on that first point, but that's a bit stock standard. I'm happy to see a third map here between these two. FaZe showed us again that grit determination we talked about beforehand that we do want to see. And this third map is going to be very, very interesting as well as one we haven't actually seen yet tonight. Gibraltar should be curious now. I mean, every time we see a map come along tonight, we have to approach it with a new sense of anticipation because who knows what we're going to see now with things changing so much and Gibraltar being so unique in its structure.
Well, I think one key thing you'd have to look out for Gibraltar is that for the longest time, what was one of the key ways of defending Gibraltar? The crossfire defense. Who was the star of that defense for a long time? Well, the one and only Soldier 76, who got buffed pretty heavily in this last patch. Soldier. So as far as this goes, I'm actually very curious to see what we see coming out from the teams here, if Soldier is going to be in play, and how much of a centerpiece he is, because I gotta tell you, getting through the hangar phase with a Soldier in over the top, that's gonna be easier said than done.
I want to see Soldier. My gut tells me both teams are going to be trying to run this dive comp again, and or they're going to be relying on Roadhog. Even though I still think putting Soldier, especially at blue on first point and then on top of the ship in second point, is so good and has been so good on the past. Why would you not do it, considering the Soldier is in the meta right now? But they both went triple DPS on Misfits Attack on Hollywood. If we can have the triple DPS meta again, that would make me so happy. Let that come through.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too, to be honest with you. I mean, there may even be whispers of Widowmaker in the wind somewhere as well. We've seen her at some brief points here as well, and I mean, it's the kind of map where you can be favored in some situations of having some long sightlines to work with, but I have flashbacks to watching Tufek actually play Soldier 76 on defense up on top of that shuttle, and you know, what he could do with that hero was frankly quite disgusting. So, you know, to a degree, you almost necessitate a dive comp there, you know, to play against that, because simply walking up with the payload and hoping the enemy drops down is not such an option when the defending team can be guaranteed such a high amount of damage just to make sure that the attackers are never at full health or in a good enough place to actually withstand a fight if it were actually to come to them from that defending team dropping off the shuttle and starting up.
So you bring up a good point there, which is the idea of where does Widow fit in to all of this now, where, You think back in the day, there were definitely points where Widow was a must-have on Gibraltar as well. Like, we've seen Gibraltar through a whole bunch of different phases, a whole bunch of different balance stages, so to speak. And now we're in a case where Widow's probably strong to the point where I think she actually is a little bit underrepresented right now. Her new shots fire off very quickly. She still has insta-gib capability. She gets it even quicker. And she does well against 76, should it get played. She does well against, of course, McCree, should it be played. So we'd be curious to see it here because it would be effective, whether it be attacking the hangar, defending, or otherwise. But either way, taking a look here at the defense as it rolls out, doesn't look like Misfits is going to be opening up here with that 76.
No, not the case for them at this stage. They're actually going to be running McCree here, interestingly enough. So McCree, Genji, they're going to have Zebasai on that Winston here as well. So, I mean, I guess a little bit maybe what we used to see from these guys, and they're not really taking anything in their stride in terms of the changes to the game, which is I'm quite happy with, really, when we know that, you know, Ana is so potent on this map. The same approaches that used to work on Gibraltar are still going to be effective in terms of holding through server room and forcing, you know, mistakes and sort of errant engages. But if we do see this Shadowburn Sombra, I'll be quite happy to see it here and what he can do, because obviously, you know, playing in close quarters, playing through the server room means that you're definitely going to be catching on to a lot of people when you do get that EMP available to you. Too easy on the Widow? I wouldn't rule it out. I think attacking Widow as well is good. I think you have a bit more choice when it comes to sight lines. I actually think attacking Widow is better in almost every case than defensive, but that could be argued. But still, point is, we are not going to see it here, so we can put that one to bed. It is going to be the 76 for Zoms.
You know, you go far enough back, there was a point where we saw 2Easy and Widowmaker very frequently, where he would have very vocal battles with other Widowmakers and mention, you know, 3 for 0 and stuff like that. But Zoms right now on the offensive 76 immediately catches Hedan. And that's going to put FaZe very much on the right foot as they move this forward.
Yeah, a huge pickup. Getting Ana, are you kidding me? I mean, the fact is, Hidden was sitting in such a safe location, but Soldier 76 is going to be able to deny those away now, and it's just going to be a snowball from here. Skipjack soon fall down. Shadowburn is a casualty eventually to Zebasai, but you've lost so much power on the side of Misfits now. You're going to allow the payload to move a heck of a long way before you can even bother trying to defend. Hidden, again, is going to be threatened. Fact Fiction straight up there, straight up the guts and gets the kill. And this first checkpoint's going to come up here. It's just desperate stall, essentially, like we see at the end of the map. It's not going to be enough for Misfits.
Zoms is utterly destroying right now. Like, let's just be clear on what's going on here. He's getting a lot of support from his tanks and supports, but oh my goodness, the Soldier play, the damage that's coming out right now, he is ripping Misfits to shreds. There has not been any pressure on him, really, whatsoever. Skipjack just running for his life. Zoms almost getting hit by that flashbang. Get him in over the top. Still not to be denied. Finally, does get pushed back a little bit. Winston coming in, but Winston with the Discord Orb just gets gibbed, bopped, whatever you want to call it. Just takes Winston down immediately. RIP Winston, as Zoms is keeping this going forward and has attack visor up here. Mitch, what are we seeing right now?
This is unbelievable. I mean, Zoms was on his own up on top of the shuttle, but then Zebasai jumped up and he was joined by Shadowburn, so everyone was ready to back him up, and maybe the juicy bait of Zoms, the 76 being on top of the shuttle, was too much to resist, and it worked out so well. I'm not even going to call it bait, it's just the kind of way it worked out. Zoms hasn't even used that attack visor yet. 6 minutes and 8 seconds. They've passed the hangar phase with consummate ease. Now on towards the last phase here. I mean, first of all, Misfits need to shake off this shell-shockedness. And secondly, they need to get some good defensive positions. And then thirdly, they need to build up some ultimates. But that last one is very conditional and not easy to achieve here.
No, not at all. And like, here's the other thing too, with what Zoms is doing here, he's just ripping people apart, and there's no defensive 76 either. And here we go. Oh Sound Bear is in, so is Attack Visor. Has 2 kills off it so far. Looking for more. Ripping in. It's finally giving Nevix that shuts him down, but Nevix has found himself with that team. Literally every other member on his team is dead. Nevix versus the world, getting just wrecked by Factor Fiction at the very end. And finally, we do have Misfits. I think he was out for last fight as well, but we do have Zebosai up here in defensive 76, but this feels like too little too late. I was hoping to see the defensive 76 to start up this game.
I mean, yeah, it is too late. Look at him, he's already dead now. Forsaken Transcendence on the payload, wants to spread that healing as much as he possibly can here, because Soon and Cooler have found their marks. This may be enough to slow down FaZe a little bit more as Forsaken eventually is singled out by Soon. But a Primal Rage will keep the potential for reinforcements there. I don't know if that's necessary, though, from Fact Fiction. He probably could have saved that for later. It's hard to say that you know how many you've already lost on your team, but the defenders spawn so close here that getting a staggered kill does not have much value at all. So maybe not for later, perhaps.
Zebosai right now starting to bring things back. The power of Soldier. He will have a Tech Visor up sooner rather than later. Eden might not have the nano boost to go with it. Gonna be a little bit variable, but already you see the power that Misfits is getting here after switching to the Soldier. And now, again, here's what I'm thinking about switch-ups here. Imagine if you had a Widow to just peek right out here, Uber, and pop Zebosai. Totally a thing. Something that it would probably catch him off guard as well. He's not shielded by anything. I feel like that could be the counter to the counter here in terms of Soldier play. We'll have to see. No team going for it just yet. Just Zombs versus Zebosai, but here comes Sacrificer over the top. And this should clear out this fight for Misfits.
Yeah, and those ults now that Misfits managed to accrue are sort of being built up and used there. Forsaken got singled out very early on there, and it's not even his fault because half of his team were diving, so his protection, his infrastructure for staying alive was kind of limited anyway at the start of that fight. Like, Widowmaker could be good here. It's so conditional though as well. You can't actually give a definite yes or no empirical answer about how effective she can be because she's either everything or nothing. That's the issue. But Fact Fiction up on high. He gets Zebosai. That's a good start. That 76 is down for the count.
Zebosai is down. The big threat is gone. Nevix though trying to pick up the slack. Goes to the backline. Has the nano boost. Dragon Blade has to put the blade away. Still 4v4 between both teams. A chance here for FaZe. Too easy being the duelist here around the cart. Fighting off, looking for Soon. Soon, though, gonna rifle butt him in the face. And just like that, Misfits pulling this back soon with all sorts of cleanup towards the very end. And this is problematic here for FaZe. FaZe was coming through with a whole lot of momentum, and it's just been slammed shut. Now, what do we have to attribute that to, Uber? Is it just a swap up here, the 76, or is it something more?
Well, it's got a lot to do with, like, first of all, you can't stagger out the defenders because they spawn so close. Secondly, as well, this high ground, there's actually been a chance for Misfits to establish positions there. You can see Fact Fiction, his job is trying to knock them off here, and he does that, but then he has to keep fighting. And with people getting picked off in the backline, it's very, very hard for it to happen. But this is great from Too Easy. He gets Nevix and Hidden. What a great beginning to the fight for FaZe, and they're rolling.
FaZe bringing forward the Dragon Blade of Shadowburn, definitely doing work, and this is flawless for them so far. Everyone's still up. The defenders are going to have to come through these tiny doors to try and get through immediately. This is very much favoring the attackers of Shadowburn, looking for a little bit extra, takes down his counterpart, and Nevix. Transcendence is down, and FaZe all in for capturing this point right here, right now.
Yeah, perfectly done there as well, and they just stick to their guns here. I've got to hand it to FaZe. Cooler will be able to contest for a moment here as well, and there should be a decent amount of stall, but again, a sound barrier used in that context, you know it's purely born of desperation. Nevix trying to stay alive, he won't be able to get there, but now D.Va coming on towards the point. It's going to be Zebo and Hidan there, but again, the kills are just going in favor of FaZe. They're doing well to stay alive and sustain through this consistent attempts here from Misfits to keep it going. Eventually, it's not going to be enough here. Hidan will fall, the payload will move, Nevix can stall it out a little bit longer. I mean, you spawn very close to his defenders here. It is possible to stall this out. Not quite 5 D.Va level stall, but still.
They're bringing it back right now. The Dragon Blade doing work. Soon and Cooler are able to take down 2. And now that the offense has lost some people, it's going to be a little bit rough. Still, Shadowburn and Zombs trying to keep it through. Shadowburn with the cleanup on the point. Has 3 kills here thus far, but D.Va's coming back in. There's going to be 6 defenders up here soon. God. Have they done it? Uber, they're pushing them back.
Oh, that's just unbelievable. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to harp on the fact that the defenders spawn very close to this last point, but think of it as the last point on, I don't know, like Temple of Anubis, for example, right? You need to beat down multiple waves of enemies, and in that case, the Misfits were staggered out just enough to allow them to have 1, 2, 3 people come onto the point, and even more than that, the shields coming out from Skipjack allowed them to stay alive as well as just stalling. Perfect.
Indeed, and the key part there is you just can't lose any people in the offense. Once Cooler was able to get that pickoff, it went downhill for here's Factor Fiction moving in. Has the primal rage. Got to be thinking about knocking someone off the edge. Might have just gone it there. Was very close at any rate. Factor Fiction dancing around. Gonna get slipped towards the end, but Too Easy coming in. But Zebosai just doing critical damage to the backline. Takes down 2. And based on what we were just saying here, Uber, this is gonna make the offensive job way harder as the defense comes in big.
Oh my lord, this is an incredible amount of stall. Misfits coming up with the goods at the last moment here. And that time bank, that massive advantage that FaZe has all but dwindled to 30 seconds. That's 1 push. This reminds me of No Hero Limit King of the Hill.
It goes that far back, but you're not wrong. That's how strong the defense is at coming out and stalling. And now this is going to be the final attempt here for FaZe. They have 14 seconds left, and they have to be careful to get on the payload here. This has been a recurring theme for teams. Don't get on the payload at the very last moment, so that's step 1 for FaZe. Step number 2 is chaining doubts, but with Forsaken just getting blown all up there by Soon. It's going to go from bad to worse. Here comes Nevix, looking for the win, slicing in the backline. Zom's going to shut him down. The hope is still alive here for FaZe.
Yeah, Hito now as well, just trying to avoid Shadowburn as he tries to dash through. He'll be taken down by the Tesla cannon of Skipjack, and Zom's not going to fare much better. Fact Fiction eventually lands on the ground, but it's a little bit too late. Zebosai did fall, but again, there's going to be so much time for respawns to come in here that this overtime could be going for even longer if it's even going to be positive for FaZe at the end. Forsaken throws himself down. This is what they could have used earlier on, the Transcendence to help weather that storm. Too easy, Deadeye. Cooler, can't be seen. He's blocking line of sight, and Skipjack's going to get in his face. Forces Too Easy to cancel it out there. Payload's still moving, still in overtime. Shadowburn now with the Dragon Blade coming through here. This might be what they need to at least finish the map. That is what FaZe need.
Too Easy is coming in huge right now, pick after pick. The McCree damage from the backline has done its duty. Too Easy with something like 7 kills in the last 30 seconds or so. Just going through the entire team, getting a little bit extra on top. Really, really important stuff coming out from Too Easy, and certainly not a record-breaking time. It's time bank actually went out. They did it in overtime, but they are able to complete the map, and that is huge for FaZe in their odds of winning this overall, because worst case scenario, that Misfits comes through and brings it to the end. They still get at least a minute. Best case scenario, Misfits doesn't complete, and FaZe ends up taking the series 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, that stall was just unbelievable, and you don't see that very often at all, and it doesn't just happen that way. Like, it's not that easy to stall that point at all. It's actually really hard. So it was just incredibly fortuitous for Misfits that they actually were able to trickle it the way that they did. And the hardest thing to do is actually establish a presence while you're just stalling out, because it's a shift of mindset. It goes from just getting to the payload to getting to the payload and surviving. That requires a lot of utility to be expended, like shields, like good healing, whilst you're making sure to keep on tabs of, whether you're going to lose the game there or not. So it takes a lot of mental stamina to do it. I think Misfits have done well, but they're lucky. They are very lucky to actually, have been able to bleed that time down as much as they did here, because they could have been in a much, much worse situation.
I mean, FaZe went from world record to almost a repeat of the Hollywood letdown on the final point.
It's a big, big swap. And actually, I mean, I'm glad you brought up Hollywood in that final point just from the Route 66 Cup, because I think it is analogous there where, for one reason or another, now, in recent times, there's a sample size of 2, but it has happened in the past where, for whatever reason, FaZe does have trouble finishing things out when they are ahead. It does seem to be somewhat of a theme that's starting to recur. Now, we'll keep an eye as it goes forward, but it makes you wonder if teams don't always have the best strategies for closing out map, which is a different strategy, because it's not just winning the fight, it's winning the fight in a certain way that lets you get the payload all the way to the end.
Oh, guess what? Suck Flasher. We've got ourselves a Widowmaker here from Zevasire. I mean, again, like I said, it's everything or nothing, right? So, Zevasire needs to justify this pick pretty quickly. And, hello, headshot on towards Fact Fiction. Perfect for Nevix to pick it off. Again, more needs to be done, but this is a good start.
It's a very good start. Anytime you get Winston down that early, including a vital player like Factor Fiction, gotta like it. Both teams trading out kills right now. And remember, this is one of the points here where it's not necessarily in the attacker's advantage to trade out. The defender respawn pretty close as well. And FaZe, they're gonna hold this on to begin with. They have enough momentum here. Should be able to clean up the people in and around the point. So for now, the Widowmaker gamut doesn't pay off. In fact, Zebosai already off it, going the Soldier.
Yeah, again, for one push, if you can completely hit the shock and awe and put scorch marks under the enemy team, then great. Otherwise, no, because they've wised up to it now. It's going to change their positioning and change their mindset. The fact that Shadowbird kills Soon there while he's backing away is pretty dumb. I mean, he did die. He was probably always going to die as he was overextended, but that's a cherry on top, and that's a nice little addition there to come and to slow down Misfits here, having lost that hero.
Misfits trying to replicate the 76 magic that Zoms had, and not quite doing it here just yet. Part of it is probably the fact that Zoms is also on the defensive 76, a very key difference between the two teams. Here comes Dragonblade, though, out from Shadowburn, slicing, dicing in the server room. Not getting much yet. We'll just have to sell for Hedan. Gets one reset, moving right in. The fluid mobility, though, gets him the reflect kill at the end. 2 kills here from Shadowburn, and why should we expect anything less at this point?
No, we really shouldn't. And this could get scary very quickly, actually, for Misfits now if they do get hold. And the payload's in a position where Misfits have to expose themselves to even get to it, unless they move through the server room, which is very telegraphed and predictable, right? So, Shadowburn already, he'll be standing forward. A bit of a vanguard to spot out the early pushes here. Now, everyone will know. Soon go... Oh, God. Forsaken picks up Soon there. That is beautiful. Forsaken was up on the ledge. So he must have picked off Soon from extreme range with an orb there. I'm telling you, this guy is a wizard.
He is a wizard, and plus he's floating, which also adds that theory just on a base level. But you take a look here, look at the offense and the defense. It's going to come down to one big fight here, Uber. If FaZe is able to win this fight with their ultimates, they will very likely take this entire thing. So here we go, it's underway. The Transcendence stymieing that Dragonblade, going to waste most of its time Offense, though, still at the first kill. It's very back and forth.
Yeah, but nicely laid between those defensive ults now. Too easy for Forsaken, Shadowburn all able to fire up. The Transcendence was there, and the second it finished, immediately Raucous put down the sound barrier. That's a huge window of like strong defensive ultimates actually available and in effect for FaZe, and it allowed them to shrug off so much of that damage they'd barely lost anyone in that fight. Now, maybe one good push and another half push here is all that's going to be available for Misfits. I cannot believe how they've been stumped here.
They've been stumped here, and I think it comes down to the fact that Soldier 76 on defense here, really strong. They didn't run it themselves, and they're probably kicking themselves for it, because who knows what they could have had on that defense. Now, more factors just that, but you take a look at Shadowburn. He does have that Dragon Blade up again, unleashing it, finds Cooler, resets one time, moving forward, slicing into this Winston, gets another reset. It's 3 kills here from Shadowburn, and the cleanup crew is in progress. Under a minute, almost under 30 seconds left here. Misfits up against the ropes. Their series life here on the line. And going into the next fight here, Uber, it's not exactly getting much better for them. They have nothing. 0 available.
And like they haven't been able to win these fights with ultimates, so now without them it's going to be even worse. Too Easy will have a pulse bomb, so that's the only ultimate really going to be in effect right now. I don't really know how this works out. Zoms has actually switched over towards the Sombra here as well. That might have been to stall earlier on, but still, he's going to have to play it now. With Fact Fiction going up there, you can see Nevix trying to get into the backline, but Zoms is trying to hack him out there as well. 3 on the payload, but Too Easy stays safe here. Perfect start. Cooler drops first. Soon's going to take down Forsaken here as well, but it's all about FaZe right now. Shadowburn gets one more. Nevix trying to even the odds here and takes Too Easy low. If he manages to win that fight, it's off his back, and it may well be the case here with Shadowburn and Fact Fiction. He's put to sleep.
Nevix right now bringing it right back. This is Nevix series life on the line, and they are doing it here, Uber. They're getting through here. Nevix, no ultimate required, just raw Genji shenanigans. Finds Forsaken, dashing over and over again. Not going to get Toms here just yet, but the momentum here is absolutely real. People coming in off those respawns, getting slaughtered. The momentum from Misfits coming forward as they bring it through the hangar phase. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. Tools piling up here for Misfits. Is this a second life?
Well, it is obviously we're getting that first point, but also the fact that we're seeing the right thing being done here by Misfits. They chased those kills inside the hangar. They made sure they had an advantage and they got some stagger. So now it's Fact Fiction to drop down here. Soon does fall to Forsaken yet again, by the way, which is remarkable enough in itself here. A good fight here will set FaZe in good stead, and the sound barrier does expire.
Nevix going to the back line off that nano boost, has 2 already. Raucous with the boop back, trying to get away. His boop is down. He is down. And suddenly, FaZe, who was looking like they were going to get that first point hold, backs against the wall, just getting smashed in every possible facet right now. Fact or Fiction comes in towards the end, but it's going to be too little too late. The second point is Misfits. They have a little under 3 minutes left here, Uber. They've made up for so much time.
Yeah, and they can keep going here as well, just chain these kills. Look at FaZe's positioning. They're not in safe spots at all. They don't have high ground. They're sort of halfway between attacking and defending here and trying to pull back. If Shadowburn falls here, that's not good at all, especially now given that Fact Fiction's a bit caught out, has to jump away with just a sliver of health left. And now all that ground has to be given away by FaZe because they got a couple people picked off.
And take a look at Misfits here. This is going to be one of their better windows. It's going to be ultimates versus ultimates. If they can find a way of doing this without suffering casualties, it could be the game. They have the Graviton, Sound Barrier, and Primal Rage at the ready. Oh, look at Shadowburn. He was looking for that Graviton deflect. Doesn't quite get it. Not rewarded for this fishing. Graviton going to go way in the back. Don't know if that's the best Graviton, though. 2 kills already out here for FaZe as they try and fight this back.
No, but it was a very good biotic grenade thrown into the Graviton to actually make sure that Raucous couldn't survive and get any healing from the Transcendence that was active. So that was really nicely done by Hidden. Get the biotic grenade in there as well. And look at this. I mean, Misfits are cruising through now. A minute 53 on the clock. It's going to be stall phase now for FaZe, and this has turned around awfully quickly.
It's turned around very quickly. Do have the attack visor coming out from Zomsta, right? He's taken down by Skipjack, and Nevix right now holding the blade of victory. If he can wield it properly, takes down Raucous, gets the deflect. Every kill going in favor of Misfits right now. And has this really just happened? How?
Unbelievable.
Why? I mean, Misfits played amazing, but FaZe, come on. My word.
You were the one, ZP, that brought it up. You were the one that said that FaZe aren't good at closing when they're ahead, and you were almost wrong, and now you're right. You're so freaking right. Okay, so basically now both teams are going to have 1 minute added to their time bank, and it will have to be FaZe attacking first to see how far they can get, and then Misfits will have 2 minutes and 35 seconds to match that. it was done. It was done and dusted until Nevix went ham and got 3 kills with a Dragon Blade over on that payload in overtime. FaZe had done all the hard yards. They just had to take one step, open the door, and just flop, lifeless and sleeping on the threshold. But they messed up big time, and it's cost them so dearly.
It's cost them so badly here, and now here's the other problem that they have. Let's take a look at defensive adjustments coming in from Misfits, where clearly learning from their mistakes, they're running the soldier on defense here. I don't think Zombs is going to have his happy wonderland where he just like goes through and is just shooting and killing everyone for the first 2 minutes of the game. I feel like the adjustments coming in from Misfits here defensively make a lot of sense. They're going to have the Winston to dive in the soldier. They have a soldier of their own.
It's a mirror. Whoever team fights better will win.
Yeah, I mean, the difference being the no Zenyatta on the side here of Misfits, but I mean, I always say it's a bit of a buff with Forsaken up on that Zenyatta as well. A bit more aggression here as well. Ability to deal with those tanks, and Skipjack has to be careful. But yeah, single tank here coming out from Misfits. So I like a bit of that on both sides of the coin, in fact. So we'll see how it plays out. The payload's already moving well and truly, and soon just dashes forward there to delay it for as long as he can, I guess. 35 on the clock, that's all that matters here.
Not much time left. All Misfits need here is really one good team fight wipe early on. If they wipe this out here, it's going to be good for them. Zebosai, though, really far back, not able to help Skipjack as he goes in, or Nevix. I don't actually like how they're playing this. They're playing with the soldier, but they're not playing with the soldier. And this has put them in a hole.
We're going to see Fact Fiction go pretty low here, but actually able to sustain through. But now, yep, focus down a little bit too much here. Onto the payload goes Skipjack. Shield down, but Raucus gets the boot back on him. Is too easy. He's dealing with the backlines here. So decent little bit of progress being made here for FaZe, but now they're in overtime. This is it. This is all they're going to be able to manage now, and Cooler knows that. He wants to try and stall for as long as he can, and already we're going to see Nevix probably just set up on the shuttle here. No attempt to stall, and there's no reason for Misfits to, because they value good positioning in this hangar phase more than contesting one last time outside the doors.
So right now, both teams do not really have ults up just yet, but Shadowburn getting awfully close. There is a pulse bomb. And for FaZe, if they can just win this next team fight, they're going to have a lot of ults to just potentially get this through hangar. Here we go, Winston trying to get up and over. Shadowburn has built up that Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade already being unleashed, going to the top, and takes down Zebosai, gets slept though, and while he's sleeping, soon will play, moving in and around the payload right now, picks up 2, looking for more, absolutely no one on him. Nevix joins the fray late on, and this is a fight here where off that sleep dart, Misfits fighting back at the last moment. It's looking good.
Oh, there it is. Oh, overtime almost ticked down there. Skipjack, I mean, it should be done now as well. You got the Primal Rage knocked back in 27.61 meters after the first point. That is all FaZe are going to be held to. Still not too bad to even get past that, but smart by Misfits not to try and stall before that first point, because they could have given away another point in that fight.
They kill Raucus during his break it down sound barrier right before he lets it go, and that was huge for them to secure the defense there.
So I'm going to say one thing that I saw there that I've been seeing comp teams do way too much. A lot of times it's with the Mei, but there it was with the Winston. If you go back and look at the VOD on how they were positioned there, Zebosai was way far in the back. And then Skipjack decides, you know what, I'm going to leap way far in the front. Zebosai, as a soldier, had no prayer of actually assisting in that particular case. Misfits split themselves on that point A defense for basically no reason, and you wonder why FaZe is able to come in and just grab that relatively effortlessly at point A. That's why. When tanks engage, the rest of your team needs to be able to either flank or immediately fall through immediately. You can't do this thing where half your team is in and half your team is basically out. It's not going to work most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And now the stakes are extremely high. 2 minutes and 35 seconds might seem like a lot of time here for Misfits to get to, you know, that 4 checkpoints and 27.61 meters, but they spent 4 minutes trying to get to just hangar doors against FaZe last time around. So they're not out of the woods yet, and FaZe can still clutch this. I mean, they almost threw it away, and if they pick it back up and hold it, then credit to them. Excuse me. But it didn't have to go this far. That's the thing. It could have been over already.
Nevix right now on the Genji, looking for opportunity. Zombs looking to shut that opportunity down here in the back. Well, it's going to depend here on this first point defense, and well, no, we do have the Sombra in play. The Sombra, though, immediately going down. Caster Curse in effect. But with that Sombra pick now, FaZe is going to be very aggressive. Look at how much they're defending this territory here, Uber, where you got to think that they're thinking about the territory game and the time they have to defend.
Yeah, I mean, these are very strong defensive positions just up around the corner here, so the longer it takes for Misfits to get towards that, that's another big hurdle that they still need to get through. Fact Fiction needs to be careful, though. He wants to contest the payload as frequently and as often as he can just to make sure it's not moving, but he doesn't want to give up his life as a result. That's not worth it. Zebasai, dead already. Again, if Sombra's not working out, switch it now or forever hold your peace, and soon's going to fall to Fact Fiction. This is going to be another one fight here. Skipjack gets a couple few meters, but it's not remotely enough now. 1 minute 30 remains.
I don't know why Zebasai is still in the Sombra. I thought for sure he would switch after that last death. They've basically thrown a minute of their time away. It's gone. Farewell. They don't have a whole lot to show for it. They're going to have a lot more pain coming their way soon in terms of ultimates out from FaZe. I don't know if the Sombra's even going to get an EMP up the way it's going, and it's been very ineffective here thus far. And just frankly, I don't think Zebasai probably has that much experience maneuvering around Gibraltar as Sombra right now. But she's going to come up here over the top, run right into a soldier. You are outgunned in this fight, and now you have no translocator. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, and yeah, Zeba's not in a great position, but Zombies hasn't actually recognized that or respected that positioning, so Zebasai actually gets away with that one. Don't know how that works out, but Shadowburn just doing Shadowburn things here. Excuse me. And Nevix now as well going to be forced up on his own to go for the Dragon Blade. 38 seconds left. This could be a thing for FaZe. Somehow, they might actually win it out after all of this consternation and trouble.
Well, again,
say that. Don't you say that yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We remember what happened last time. Never forget. There's still always hope.
20 seconds,
FaZe,
EP.
we'll see if they can close this one out. 18 seconds remaining. They're going to have to deal with an EMP. Dragon Blade is already done from Nevix. He's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. He did it before. Zebasai going in over the top. Drops the EMP. Is it going to be enough? The initiation is in. Nevix going to the top as well. Going for that Hack Soldier. Zom's able to get away, though. And here comes the Sound Bearer from the defense. Going to let them turn the tides. Hack or no hack. Won't be enough. Here's the Transcendence. Zom's just down, though, so 65.
Yeah, I mean, Zom's actually died just before the Transcendence got popped there, but again, that is going to help a lot for FaZe staying alive here. Shadowburn gets too easy, gets one here. We're in overtime now, and Soon can't stay on this payload forever. He's going to be forced off eventually, and now Shadowburn needs to help the rest of his team because all of the eggs of the Misfits basket are planted squarely on that payload. It's Nevix and Soon keeping it alive, but Skipjack is eventually dealt with. He's dealt with out back and picked up. Killed, and now Nevix has to leave the payload. He's going to jump back on, but no, it's not going to be enough in FaZe. Oh, God. The dream is real. It's a fairy tale ending because every fairy tale has a nightmare in there. It has like a, a very dark period, but we're through that period. Our eyes are now free to see the light that is FaZe actually getting a win here. And not only that, but against Misfits over a very long series. Brilliant. That's all I can say.
FaZe was definitely not their best friends of themselves within this matchup. They definitely did some things that were counterproductive to winning, but they're able to hold it out in the end, and I mean, it's part they had a really good hold towards the end. Zoms was playing well, Shadowburn, of course, playing well throughout most of the game, but especially at the end. But to be honest, you look at the other side of things for Misfits, it's hard to say that the Sombra was really doing what you need a Sombra to do, and there was points that were just outright suicide where there's two people on top including a soldier, and Sombra just teleports on the top and says, I want to take this 1v2. Sombra, you don't want to take that 1v2. Stop. Stop with this. There's no point.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, you throw a translocator up there, as Zebasai did, so you're committed to that fight anyway, for the most part, because you can't really translocator away or teleport back to safety or anything like that. So you're going 1v2, which is hard enough as it is. It's even hard enough to go 1v1 against Forsaken, but that to me is not a watertight strategy by any stretch of the imagination. It's more like a sieve. It doesn't work. Misfits almost got there, though, because still Zebasai managed to get away from that situation, go unpunished, kill Zoms, who dropped down and apparently had forgotten that Zebo was already up around that vicinity. So, I mean, I'm glad we got to see some Sombra here as well, but it's just, I don't know, Slasher, just not quite on the mark yet.
I mean, I don't know if it's as much as Sombra not being effective or Soldier is really maybe the best DPS hero right now. And as we talked about it before the map started, Gibraltar used to be the home of Soldier. You saw Zoms run through the entire first and second point in like 2 minutes, pretty much letting himself go because you have the dive comp, which opens up space, and then Soldier can kind of roam free unattested. When Zebasai ran Soldier, they did the same thing. I don't understand why Zebasai just took the cue as that would be why he should go Soldier in that OT phase. Yeah, I'm not... I think Sombra can be a good pick, but he didn't get ult until the very end, and he would have gotten Soldier ult much sooner than that.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, I think you look at Misfits' defense in overtime, it's definitely a lesson in don't split your team unnecessarily. If you're going to go in, because you could go back at it. It's a very clear example where Zebosai is all the way in the back of the soldier. Can't help Skipjack when he goes in. Skipjack dies. Everyone else dies. It definitely could have been avoided if the positioning we're talked about a little bit earlier, if Skipjack, I mean, it's on both ends, right? Zebosai could have been further up, Skipjack could have been further back, but whatever it was, it needed to not be what they did.
I mean, I don't have too much really to add on to that, except that the bracket phase is going to be very interesting because there are some very interesting matchups even in the first round. And obviously winning this for Misfits is very good for their seeding, very comfortable. But for FaZe Clan, they could be on the chopping block straight after this, to be honest, as we go into the brackets.
Absolutely. So this is going to bring our broadcast today for a close. We will be back tomorrow at the same time for day number 2. That's going to be playoff day. Of course, groups will have been decided from today. We'll get to see those seedings in play tomorrow. But any final words, thoughts, guys, before we head off here and look forward to tomorrow?
If you're playing ranked tonight, run Soldier, run Diva, don't play Sombra, don't lose me MMR. Please.
Yeah. And don't play Torbjorn. Don't try this at home, kids. All right, Zebo got away with it. I can't deal with it. If you're on the enemy team, though, go for it. That's fine, and let me know in advance. But no, all in all seriousness, good to be back, ZP, man. Haven't cast with you guys for a while, so thanks for having me. Also good to be with Slasher as well. I feel like we get to really delve a little bit deeper now as well, having him on board. So it's been a lot of fun, and look forward to the next time.
No, it's been awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Hex, who had to leave a little bit earlier, but he'll be back tomorrow as well. It has been a blast. Definitely love casting with all you guys. And I'm just going to say this, just to be the foil to you guys. Players of Overwatch, don't let your memes be dreams. Get out there. Pursue your happiness. Be the next Crusher 99 as a Sombra main. Don't let these people keep you down. But with that, we're going to be signing off. This has been the Alienware Monthly Melee. We will catch you guys tomorrow for more great action.